10 compatibility red flags you're ignoring in relationships. I'm feeling quite hungry, so let's hope my stomach remains quiet for now. Imagine you've met someone who seems like the perfect match, fun, attractive, and you're convinced she's the one. Before you get swept away by those heart-shaped clouds, let's pause for a moment. Compatibility is more than just butterflies and romantic sunsets. Sometimes, we overlook red flags waving right in front of us because love or lust can make us selectively blind. Today, you'll learn about some of the most common compatibility red flags that often go unnoticed, especially if you're infatuated. These signs might indicate she's not the one you're looking for, even if she feels like it right now. Interestingly, these red flags can apply to both women and men. Ignoring these signs won't magically resolve issues, and soon, you might find yourself sliding into a doomed relationship, leaving you frustrated, heartbroken, or worse. Many of you can relate. If you're new to my channel, my name is Anna Jorgensen. I help good men like you decode modern women so you can find, attract, and keep your keeper, or simply have better relationships with women. By the way, my videos have also helped good women understand men's needs better. Welcome to Just the Tip. Just a reminder, when I say partner, I mean husband, wife, boyfriend, or girlfriend. This advice applies to both men and women. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to let me know in the comments which of these red flags you've experienced in past relationships, whether romantic or not, and perhaps which ones you may be guilty of now. While all of these are critical, numbers 7 and 10 are very common relationship destroyers. Let's dive in. One of the most crucial aspects of compatibility is communication. It's not just about talking, it's about how both of you communicate. Maybe she thinks she's great at expressing her needs, while you find yourself constantly trying to decode her cryptic texts. Or perhaps she avoids difficult conversations, running away at the slightest sign of discord, while you value open and honest discussions. Over time, differences in communication styles can create misunderstandings and breed frustration. For example, imagine you bring up something that's been bothering you, and instead of addressing it, she shuts down or deflects by changing the subject. Over time, these moments can build up, leaving important issues unresolved. You might say, "I've been feeling off about how we've been handling things lately." She might sigh and continue scrolling on her phone, saying, "Let's talk about this later. I don't want to deal with it right now." Then you say, "We keep putting it off. I feel like we are not addressing the real issues," and she'd say, "You're overthinking. Seriously, just let it go." Healthy relationships require both people to communicate openly and address problems head-on, but gently. If that's not happening, it's a compatibility red flag worth noting and something you need to fix immediately. Here's a question for both men and women. When was a time you expected someone to communicate the way you want them to without actually telling them what that looks like? Fess up, we've all done it. Red flag number 2 is differing life goals. So now you're in sync, but what about the future? Maybe she dreams of living in a big city, or the south of France, while you envision a different path. This discrepancy can lead to significant issues down the line if not addressed early on. Let's talk about those moments when your paths just don't seem to align. Maybe you've always pictured a peaceful existence rooted in, or very close to the rural community where you grew up, embracing a quieter pace of life. On the other hand, perhaps she's intensely focused on building a career that could realistically take her anywhere in the world, requiring flexibility and mobility. And while you might be feeling ready to put down roots sooner rather than later, perhaps with the idea of starting a family and contributing to your local area, her timeline or priorities look completely different. When these fundamental visions for your respective futures don't match up, it can often signal a significant incompatibility, what many would call a deal breaker. Consider this scenario. One of you is deeply passionate about exploring the world through extensive travel, while the other is truly a homebody who finds comfort and fulfillment in staying put. Over time, you might find yourselves feeling increasingly frustrated or even resentful of the other person's core life choices and aspirations. This highlights a crucial point. Having compatible life goals isn't just a nice-to-have, it's absolutely essential for building a foundation for long-term happiness and shared fulfillment in a relationship. Imagine a conversation like this unfolding. She might say, "I've been giving it a lot of thought, and wouldn't it be absolutely incredible if we packed everything up and moved to New York City next year?" Your immediate reaction might be, "New York? Wait, I thought we were diligently saving up our money to buy a house or apartment right here." She might respond, perhaps trying to find a compromise, "Well, let's explore the possibilities and figure out how we could make it work." This feels like a once-in-a-lifetime kind of opportunity. But you might counter, expressing your deeper desire, "Yes, I understand, but my heart is set on building something stable and lasting right here, not constantly chasing after what-if scenarios or temporary experiences." Okay, here's a question for both the men and women reading this. Have you ever found yourself in a relationship where, despite your best efforts, it became clear that your fundamental life goals or relationship expectations were simply incompatible? What was the outcome? Please feel free to share your personal story. Moving on to another potential red flag, let's discuss clashing values and beliefs. Think of shared values as the essential framework or backbone that supports a strong, resilient relationship. If you and your partner find yourselves on completely different pages when it comes to significant aspects of life, such as your views on family, how you handle finances, political perspectives, religious or spiritual beliefs, or even just your general approach to tackling challenges and making decisions, this could be a significant warning sign. For instance, perhaps she places a high value on financial freedom and spontaneity, preferring to live fully in the present moment and enjoy life's pleasures as they come. Meanwhile, you might be someone who prioritizes careful planning, saving diligently, and building financial security for the future. Or consider differences regarding family. Maybe she is content without children and doesn't envision them in her future, while you deeply desire to build a family and raise kids. These aren't minor, superficial differences. They touch upon core aspects of how you see the world and what you want from life. Without a fundamental alignment on these key values, these clashes are likely to intensify and become much more challenging to navigate as your relationship progresses over time. Let's paint a picture with an example. Suppose you're working towards a major shared goal, like saving up enough money to buy your first home, condo, or whatever type of property is within your reach. You understand that achieving this will require significant time and consistent effort, so you're eager to start setting aside funds together right away to build that future. However, she might be someone who is all about spontaneous weekend getaways, impulse purchases, and essentially living paycheck to paycheck without much thought for long-term savings. Initially, this difference might even seem exciting after all. Isn't there a saying that opposites attract? But the charm of this dynamic can fade very quickly when you're the one feeling the pressure to fund your shared life and future goals, while she continues spending as if there are no tomorrow or no shared financial responsibilities. You might try to initiate a conversation, saying something like, "Hey, I was thinking we should really start setting aside a more substantial amount of money each month specifically for our future savings." And her response might be, "Why? We are doing just fine. Let's forget about saving for a bit and book that amazing trip to Aruba instead. Life is short, you know." You might feel compelled to explain your perspective. "Yeah, I get that, but I honestly feel much more secure and comfortable knowing we have some savings built up." What if an unexpected expense or emergency comes up? To which she might reply, perhaps dismissively, "You're always worrying about the future. Let's just relax and live a little." Alternatively, the value clash could be centered on family. She might be perfectly content focusing on her career and personal interests, feeling completely fulfilled without the idea of having children, while your deepest dream is to build a family together. Again, it's important to emphasize that these are not trivial disagreements. They represent core life values and fundamental desires. When these don't align, it can create persistent friction and tension in the relationship over the long haul. Disagreements on these significant matters become increasingly difficult to overlook or ignore as time passes, regardless of how intense or passionate the initial connection or spark might have been. Ultimately, a lack of alignment on these core values often leads to significant heartache and the eventual breakdown of the relationship down the road. Here's a crucial note for everyone, both men and women: please, never enter a relationship or stay in one based solely on someone's potential, hoping that you can somehow change the other person's fundamental values and beliefs over time. That approach is almost always a recipe for building resentment, frustration, and disappointment for both individuals involved. Finally, let's address red flag number 4, a lack of emotional availability. Emotional availability is absolutely critical for establishing and nurturing a deep, meaningful bond with another person. If you find that your partner tends to be closed off, guarded, or consistently unwilling or unable to open up and share their true feelings, thoughts, and vulnerabilities with you, that's a strong signal that building genuine intimacy and a truly connected relationship could be a significant challenge for them, and consequently, for the relationship itself. For example, if she frequently deflects personal questions, changes the subject when sensitive topics come up, or actively avoids discussing vulnerable aspects of her life or emotions, you are often left feeling distant, unable to truly understand her inner world, and constantly guessing about what's really going on beneath the surface. This makes it incredibly difficult to build trust and feel truly connected. Inner world relationships truly flourish when both partners feel emotionally connected. Without that bond, you might find yourself stuck in what feels like a one-sided partnership, where she never seems fully engaged. For example, you might notice she appears upset and ask, "You seemed down earlier. Want to talk about it?" but she just brushes it off with, "It's nothing, don't worry." If you gently press, offering support, she might reply, "I told you, I'm fine. Why do you always insist that I open up?" Let's pause for a moment. Have you ever felt that you couldn't let your guard down emotionally with someone? Maybe you shut down because you didn't feel emotionally safe. This happens to both men and women, and it's actually very common. True closeness in a relationship means both partners actively work to create a sense of safety, not just physically but emotionally, too. Sometimes people withdraw because they've been hurt by others in the past, leading them to put up walls. Can you recall a time when you closed off for this reason? Now, on to red flag number 5, the need for constant reassurance. While everyone appreciates a little validation now and then, it can become draining if your partner is always seeking confirmation or approval to feel secure in the relationship. For instance, if she often asks, "Do you still love me?" or grows anxious about your interactions with others, it may point to underlying insecurity. Of course, everyone has insecurities from time to time. But if her worries stem from something you've done, like flirting with someone else, then her concerns are understandable, and she may seek reassurance elsewhere if she doesn't get it from you. Consider this example. She asks, "Do you still love me? You've been quieter lately." You might reply, "Of course, I'm just tired from work." But she could respond, "But you don't say it as much as you used to. Are you losing interest?" You clarify, "No, I'm just not always vocal, but that doesn't mean I care less." No matter where these insecurities originate, if your partner constantly needs reassurance, it can put a strain on your relationship. Over time, you might feel responsible for keeping her self-esteem afloat, rather than her feeling secure on her own. When was the last time your partner needed extra reassurance? Did you provide it? Why or why not? Or, have you asked for reassurance and received it? Next up is red flag number 6, differences in social preferences. Social compatibility can impact your relationship more than you might think. Imagine she's a social butterfly who loves going out every weekend, while you're more of a homebody who enjoys quiet evenings in. These differences might seem insignificant at first, but can lead to tension over time. She may feel restricted, and you may feel pressured to be more outgoing than you'd like. Picture this situation. She says, "Let's go to the karaoke bar with my friends this Saturday. You'll come, right?" And you reply, "I was actually hoping for a quiet weekend at home." She might feel frustrated. Again, "You always want to stay in, it's so boring." You probably think, "You always want to go out, can't we find a middle ground?" This is where compromise comes in. Finding balance in your social lives is crucial for both of you to feel satisfied. Ask yourself, do you consider yourself introverted, extroverted, or somewhere in between, an ambivert? Can you guess which one I am? Finally, red flag number 7, different styles of handling conflict. This is a particularly important factor, as the way you and your partner manage disagreements can reveal a lot about your compatibility and the long-term strength of your relationship. Understanding compatibility is essential, especially when it comes to how partners handle conflict. For instance, one person might feel the need to discuss issues immediately, while the other prefers to take some time to cool down and reflect before talking. These differing approaches can easily lead to misunderstandings and tension. Imagine a situation where a small disagreement escalates into a full-blown argument simply because neither partner is aligned on how to address the problem. It's important to respect each other's ways of managing conflict, while also working together to find common ground and resolve issues in a healthy manner. For example, one partner might say, "Let's take a break and revisit this conversation tomorrow, I need some time to think." Meanwhile, the other might respond, "What? No, we need to talk right now. You always shut me out when it matters most." The first partner might clarify, "I'm not shutting you out, I just need to cool off first." But the other might worry, "Yeah, and then you'll just sweep it under the rug like you always do." This kind of back and forth can feel like a bad scene from a play, but it highlights how important it is to understand and respect each other's conflict styles. Here's a question for both men and women. How do you ideally want to handle conflict with your partner? And how do you actually deal with disagreements when they arise? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Moving on to red flag number 8, financial incompatibility. Money is one of the leading causes of stress in relationships. For example, one partner might enjoy indulging in fancy dinners and frequent shopping sprees, while the other is more cautious and prefers to stick to a budget. These spending habits often reflect deeper values, and when they clash, it can create tension, especially as the relationship becomes more serious. Compatibility in financial outlook, including budgeting, saving, and lifestyle expectations, is crucial to prevent resentment down the line. Imagine you're working hard to build financial stability, but your partner's spending habits leave little room for savings or even dip into your shared funds. Or perhaps an unexpected expense arises, and your partner's lack of an emergency fund suddenly becomes a problem for both of you. Over time, these differences can accumulate, leading to feelings of imbalance or frustration, which can become a major obstacle to a shared future. For example, she might say, "Look at these shoes. I know they're expensive, but I just have to have them. You might respond, didn't we agree to cut back on spending this month? We are trying to pay off that credit card. She could reply, it's just one little splurge, don't make it a big deal. And you might feel, these small splurges add up, and I'm the only one sticking to the budget here. Here's another question for everyone, are you more of a spender or a saver? How has your approach to money affected your past relationships? I'd love to hear your experiences in the comments. And yes, I've had a bit of coffee today, so let's keep going. Red flag number 9 is a lack of support for each other's personal growth. In a healthy relationship, both partners feel encouraged to develop and pursue their individual goals. However, if one partner seems indifferent or even threatened by the other's ambitions, that can be a warning sign. Sometimes, one person embraces a growth mindset, believing that people can change and improve, while the other holds a fixed mindset, thinking that people don't really change. When one partner grows and the other stays the same, it often leads to growing apart. For example, if you're trying to advance your career, but your partner downplays your ambitions or doesn't celebrate your achievements, that lack of encouragement can hold you back. Instead of feeling supported and uplifted, you might feel stifled or even discouraged. A strong relationship should foster mutual encouragement and support. You might say, I'm thinking about taking that certification course to improve my skills, and your partner should respond with enthusiasm and support, not indifference or criticism. In my pursuit of a promotion, I sought advice from a friend who expressed concern about the time commitment involved. She questioned whether I was already working enough hours, to which I responded that this opportunity was significant for my personal growth. I explained that the program only lasts 6 months, but she teased me about wanting to be a big shot. This brings us to an important question for both men and women. Do you possess a fixed mindset, or an open one? Do you believe that individuals remain unchanged throughout their lives? Or do you think that people are capable of growth and transformation? Now, let's discuss a common issue that many of you may be facing in your relationships right now. Before I dive into this, if you find this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Thank you to those who already have. I truly appreciate your support. The 10th red flag to be aware of is unresolved feelings from past relationships. If your partner frequently mentions their ex, still harbors feelings for them, or often compares you to their previous partners, it can indicate that they are not fully ready to invest in a new relationship. For instance, if she reminisces about how her ex used to surprise her with flowers, it might make you feel inadequate, as if you can never measure up to that standard. When you express your discomfort, she might dismiss it by saying she's just sharing what she liked, but it's important to communicate that it does bother you. If she's still preoccupied with her past, it raises the question of whether she's truly ready to move forward with you. A crucial point to remember is that the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. If thoughts of an ex evoke strong emotions, whether positive or negative, it suggests that there are unresolved issues that need addressing. The goal should be to reach a state of neutrality regarding past relationships. For example, I don't think about knitting because it doesn't interest me. I genuinely feel indifferent about it. If you find yourself unable to let go of thoughts about an ex, it may indicate deeper issues within yourself, such as disappointment in your ability to trust despite recognizing red flags. Now, I want to ask you, did what I just say resonate with you? If it did, I empathize with your struggles. I encourage you to reflect on why you might still be holding onto that pain. Releasing it can bring a sense of relief, as clinging to it is akin to drinking poison and hoping it harms someone else. I want to share that I have been in similar situations, and I've come to understand that everyone, including you and me, is doing their best with the knowledge they have at the time. When we learn more, we can do better. This understanding doesn't excuse poor behavior, whether it's our own or that of others, but it is a reality we must accept. We need to extend grace to ourselves and to others. These 10 compatibility red flags can help you determine if she is truly the right partner for you or if there are unresolved issues that need to be addressed. The current feeling of love is a powerful emotion, but it is only one aspect of the relationship's complexity. Key elements of true love go beyond mere compatibility. It requires honest communication, shared values, and mutual support. Ignoring red flags may feel easier now, but it can create challenges later. This isn't a gamble, instead, it's a chance to grow closer. If you're interested in learning more about relationships, I'd love to hear from you. Share your experiences with the compatibility red flags you've encountered, what worked and what didn't. Thank you for watching. You're welcome to join me in this journey. I'm sending you lots of love and clarity. God bless.